All right, folks, we're back, and we've just finished vetoes. Thank you, Zymegar, for being awesome and always handling that. So it's going to be aLive versus Super in a TVP. Once again, same style of matchup, different players this time around, and it's the losers match. So again, like the round of 8 is where the players will earn money. $250 for just placing top 8 in the tournament. Not too bad. The problem is, though, this is the losers match, and someone's about to have their lives ended here in the tournament, and someone's about to get kicked out.
Oof, the lives ended. That's grim.
Also, I need an answer.
Man, I was trying to read it to tell you. Can't read it that fast.
Oh. Alright, well,
That
they're both
is
ready.
actually more of a question for, like, Scarlett, actually. She keeps track of all the hot girls in K-pop.
Yeah, during the commercial break, guys, I saw a hot Korean girl, and I was like, who is this? You must know it's K-pop, right? Looks like we're just waiting on TING TV to join us. Hopefully they're not going to be too... Well, that was like kind of a longer break than normal, too. They should be back?
I mean, they're not AFK, but they're not accepting either, so...
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you're playing extra long ads or something, it's fine. Just let us know so that we're not sitting here like twiddling our thumbs. But all right, looks like we're almost good to go. Naruto's joined us back, so we're not going to have to worry about them having disappeared on us. It is going to be King Sejong Station, so no intro. Just show you guys the proof that it's live. I guess. Roll our eyes at that, but of course, game number 1 in a brand new best of 5 kicking off right meow.
Meow.
So another slow day for StarCraft, by the way. I just looked at the Team Liquid calendar, and aside from the Pig Daily in 7 hours, there's not really a lot going on today.
Let's see what it is today. Tuesday morning?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that makes
it's
sense.
not surprising. I'm just saying it's. I was a little bit sad seeing the calendar's so bare. Filled up the best we can, guys. But okay,
Try.
we are back, and it's game number 1 in a brand new best of 5. Two different, I guess, opinions on how this could go, and we'll see. In the top left, he's not looking so hot right now, but maybe that was just against patience. It's gonna be the Red Terran aLive.
In the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, he is Super.
And already kind of doing interesting things. So he doesn't wall off at the front, which is fine because it's Terran. You don't have to worry about a wall off so badly. But by putting everything over here, you'll see if a Reaper comes around this sneaky back door, which is kind of cute. But I feel like, and maybe this is just me because I personally hate it, but I notice we've seen less Reaper scouts in this matchup than ever. In fact, SCV scouts being more effective most of the time.
Yeah.
So to do this sort of predictive, like, Reaper build placement just seems odd, I guess.
It's something that we saw a lot of in Heart of the Storm when this map was in the map pool from Protoss, so... I don't know. It's like people kind of forgot what to do on King Sejong. You know, they were breaking down the rocks, and they were taking the fourth base in the little pocket anymore, and then suddenly they were all remembered, and now they're all doing the same tricks again. This included.
Trick's dead.
Illusions.
Illusions
either, though.
It sucks because the rest of my life I'll never be able to hear someone say tricks and not think of that line. Arrested Development has ruined me.
Yeah, apparently. I tried to be watching that, and I mean it's fun to watch, right? But it's not like laugh out loud for the first season. But once everything starts compiling together, you know, like every single moment's a throwback, then you start laughing.
Well, the thing about Arrested Development for me that was the real sell, and I'm sorry guys, I know this has nothing to do with StarCraft, do forgive us, was the fact that it was really clever. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, it would start off slow. The first 2 episodes wouldn't do anything but lay the groundwork, but then every other episode, I feel, was so much better off for it. Whereas right now, so much, like, I don't know, sitcoms, like, whatever's on TV, they're just forcing humor down your throat, and I just don't enjoy that type of funny.
I know what you mean, but sometimes, I guess for me, a lot of the times I'll watch comedy, like television shows, specifically to wind down. And honestly, I want to watch something I don't have to really think about. So I'll watch, like, Friends, because I've seen it, like, a billion times. And I don't have to, like, pay attention to understand the jokes.
Just don't say Big Bang Theory. Cause
No. Well,
that's a friendship ender.
That is just annoying more than anything else. Like, I'm used to the Friends laugh track because I like it so much already, but any new television show or The Big Bang Theory, the laugh tracks are just obnoxious. Anywho.
My favorite
Anywho.
things are actually when people mock that. They'll make like they'll write a scene, and they'll be like put the asterisk like laughs, audience laughs, audience laughter
Yeah.
grows, audience laughter is now so insane, people are losing their minds. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Well, I just like the little thing on IMDb, laugh track included when there's no joke.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, kind of cool thing that just happened. They're not the biggest deal, but well, the Adept traded out with the site. Sorry, the Hellion. Got out with the 1 health, came back home, got repaired. Not something you see too often, and especially because Hellions are normally in twos and attacking probes, not necessarily roaming them out and scouting.
Mm. That is a lot of gateways. Oh, and a dark shrine, you dirty son of a. Well, I don't know if Super was watching that last series.
I would
We
kind
know,
of
like,
hope he was. I mean,
oh, I mean, I hope he was too. We always, I think the ideal situation for anyone, I don't think you can ask a pro gamer, like, do you watch a series before? And they're like, no, and proud of it. They're usually like, oh, no, I was doing something else. What happened or whatever, right? But it's almost always smart to watch the series, especially if it's going to be the same exact matchup, which it coincidentally ended up being. So I
yeah.
hope he's watching.
Someone in chat's asking if we're from North America. Well, I guess they're asking BaseTradeTV as if we're not BaseTradeTV, but anyways. Yeah, it's North America. We woke up at 5 a.m. for this cast because we love Korean StarCraft. We love the fans, and we'll cast for them at any hour. So thank you guys, I guess, hopefully, for those that appreciate it. Similar moves come down over here for aLive, so it's not just a gimmick he was doing once. Unfortunately for him, though, the Adepts do get across the map, and this is a much earlier ending, but a similar way that this went for when he placed versus Patience, except instead of dealing with the tank drop first, he just gets all brute forcey across the map. And the DTs are going to really be the linchpin on this. As if the Adepts aren't already getting out of hand, the DTs are going to just kill it.
Yeah, that. Oh god. Oh, it's so disappointing to watch a game like this because this is really where adepts are just like, yeah, cool unit, this is great.
Yeah, you roll your
Way to
eyes at
go.
it, you're like, cool, great.
But
Glad
it's really, it's like that any all in that wasn't scouted. They look stupid, but
It's true.
that's mostly Live's fault.
I think the problem I have with Adepts is when they do look good, they do look so good because of their, I guess... I hesitate to call it tankiness because they're not nearly as tanky as they used to be, but the fact is they are durable, I guess. Better word. But GG gets called and a quick game 1 gonna go to Super.
Oh no. Alive!
I feel like for aLive, though, the same sort of problem just happened, where regardless of the awkward opening where there's no Reaper and you've got this Hellion roaming around the map, Super knew he was going to do that attack behind the rocks. It's almost like bait for Terran that they shouldn't be taking, because that ends up hurting him, as he has no defense at home. Like that Adept attack, let's be honest, if the 11-something Marines that were across the map, the 2 bunkers that are invested over there, and the tank were all at home, that may not have actually ended the game the way it just did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would not have. I mean, that War Prism just went on right in, and it definitely would have had to been a little sneakier, and ideally the Adepts are attacked while they're warping in, so... Lots of things could have been better had he not done his own attack.
Well, Dust Tower's coming up next, so a very similar map order to the previous series as well. Let's hope the games don't go the same way, because aLive is not on a good tear right now. I guess is the only way to phrase that.
No, aLive's looking quite bad, which is very unfortunate. I mean, aLive's not only are tearing hope occasionally, I suppose, not as much, but occasionally in the Alima League. He's just been a guy that we've got to see a lot of, and it's usually not 3-0s.
I really like watching aLive too. Not only does he give us
mean-
good games, but he's usually pretty good with his control. This series and the last series combined, though, just feels like, I don't know, like it's not aLive. Like he's just how do I play this matchup? I'm taking all these easy baits, etc. Like I don't know. This is.
I thought he was the guy that lost to PvP in the League. That was Gumiho, but that kind of, I guess, goes back to that we're getting a lot of feedback, I suppose, from Terrans that are frustrated with this matchup in particular. So, Gumiho or aLive, I guess they're both having the struggles or beyond.
I want to point very clearly because we'll skip the intro for this one. I don't want to make the misunderstanding that we're sitting here like shit talking aLive or anything like that. Like if anything, it's the opposite. Like we normally like him so much, and we're normally so busy hyping him up. It's odd to see him not performing at, let's say, peak capacities. So. I really like aLive, and like more times than not, he gives us great
Mm-hmm.
games, and it's like no, like oh, I feel cheated because he's not giving us the best games possible. It is just surprising to see him kind of just flounder like this. It's not the finals of a GSL. You know, nerves aren't getting to him. He's playing from the comfort of his home. Like I just don't know what it is about this matchup, but something about this matchup is totally messing with him.
It really, really is.
But of course, this is the losers match, which is definitely something that needs to be discussed. As currently on the downward spiral, he's only down one game, but he is fighting for his life in the tournament at this point. In the upper right side, it's going to be the red Terran player, aLive.
The bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he is super.
Just occurring to me too, I believe these two are teammates, aren't they? They're both on a Freak of Freaks.
You could be correct, I think.
So
Yeah?
the reason I bring this up is that could actually explain a big part of why aLive is having the struggles here, because you have a teammate you've discussed and maybe even practiced with. Again, things like King Sejong just become so predictable.
It's a decent point. I was explaining his 3-0 loss versus Patience. Oh wait, what team is Patience on?
A Freak of Freaks as well, I believe, no?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a minute,
'Cause-
they're all on a Freak of Freaks.
The reason I bring that up is because it
Yeah.
has been the same play, the same way. Now, that was one
Yeah.
map in both series, and I'm not saying Dust Towers will play out the same way or not, but it is something interesting to note where maybe that is actually the explanation of why aLive is struggling in this, because he doesn't have a bag full of tricks he can pull out on teammates that know all of his play stylings.
Yeah, that is a really great point. Then it might just be that is the main problem, but it's usually not a problem enough that it's always a 3-0. That's teammates plus a bad matchup plus like a bad day, you know. And all three might be affecting aLive here, and he's gonna feel crappy about it for the next week, but then hopefully bounce back. It's like, oh man, I just got like absolutely thrashed by Protoss. I don't want to play with the Protoss forever, but of course he will on ladder eventually.
No, you can just leave. You just
You just
sacrifice
stop
those
laddering.
points.
Oh, he's just gonna leave the game. Yeah,
The
that'll
bonus pool is
that'll
not
be
worth it.
That's how that's gonna go.
Did you see, by the way, there's that guy on Reddit posted his bonus pool, and he had like some bug, so it showed like 4 quadrillion, like thousand
Yeah,
bonus
some
pool.
guy, like a billion people. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the other people. I just meant like the guy actually took the time to post it. This is the one I was referring to. I know it happened to other people.
Well, I'm just making a joke because like a bunch of other people posted the same thing, and eventually the responses were, "Good joke. We've seen this 1,000 times."
Yeah. I know that I loved the idea of bonus pool initially because I'm like, great, less repercussions for my losses. But then because I don't play ladder nearly enough, I'm like, cool, I've got 1,000 bonus pool. I am that guy.
Oh, that's me every single time. That's been me forever. That's one of the reasons I think that I ranked up to like mid highish masters so easily is because I would only play like 3 games every other day, but I'd make sure those are the days that I'm like winning. And you might say, how do you know those are the days that you're winning? I seriously had a system where like if I chose the right day to start, I could tell like if it's a losing day or a winning day. The next day would be the opposite, and the next day would be back to the same, right?
This
And
sounds
it
a lot
worked.
more to me like somebody like a couple trying to plan the pregnancy around like the woman's flow than more than like someone trying to plan their ladder victories.
I feel like
We
I thought
think-
you were gonna go with like someone planning the gambling, you know, like it's actually something you can't plan, but that's a good analogy too, I suppose. But it worked for me. Like I would win all 3 of those games that I played, and I get I'd have an extreme bonus pool, right? So I'd actually go up pretty high, and then I wouldn't lose any. I had like a stupidly high win rate because I would only play so many games, and they were mostly wins. But it wasn't actually that good, in my opinion. But it worked, yo.
Well,
Anyway,
good to hear you have a system.
I had a system.
Questions we asked in chat are Rogue and Patience after this? Yes, Rogue and Patience will play the winners match after this, and then the finals of the group will come out after that. So we got 2 best of 5s beyond this one still to play out today, folks.
Yeah. Okay, I even forget where I brought that up, but it's Dusk Towers again. I was like very confused because like maybe I copied the wrong map pool. Because this feels like exactly the same thing that Live just went through. Goes back to like this kind of more normal map where he doesn't have to feel the necessity of doing a tank push. because King Sejong just looks so tempting for it, and maybe he'll do better, blah, 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 blah. And then he gets absolutely just thrashed by Phoenix opener. Hopefully that won't happen again. Versus Super, of course, isn't going for Phoenix. He's going for Blink Stalkers, actually.
Yeah, mobility will be nice. I guess that's the two different train of thoughts, right? Like on one hand, you can have Blink Stalkers. Well, actually, it's for attacks, so maybe not. I was gonna say Blink Stalkers to run around the bases catching things, or you get the Phoenix in the air to deal with it. Either way, this actually is still a little bit harrowing for aLive. He does have really good production though, 2 Marauders at a time. Stim may or may not be finished depending on how long this attack actually takes to kill him, but this actually favors aLive pretty heavily, especially with a bunker down. I mean, okay, Adepts might be really annoying, but the thing about having the Marauder production over this is the fact that there is that investment in Blink. There is the investment in Stalkers, and it's not going to be 400 Adepts this time.
Well, that's certainly true. If this was a more dedicated Blink Stalker attack, like 5 gateways instead of 3, I would be a little worried for aLive, just in terms of being, like, pressured and contained. Not dying, of course, but still a good amount of harassment. But since it is only 3... the scariest thing is the Warp Prism Adepts doing some harassment.
Yeah, and the Cyclone's out of position. He's really distracted as well, so it is still going to be some Adepts in the main. +1 Resonating Glaives, all very far from finishing, so not that big of a deal just yet, but that Warp Prism needs to be dealt with, and the Cyclone gets a lock-on onto the Adept, when really it needs to get a lock-on onto the Warp Prism.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. 6 SCVs go down, and that was weird. They blocked each other out the Missile Turret. Missile Turret stalled a little bit, but the Blink Stalkers didn't do any extra damage at the front. And aLive holds like pretty well, but it really wasn't. This isn't an all-in where holding is all he had to do. Super just did a little bit of damage and then left. I mean, behind this he has a double forge. He's going for a robotic space, so we might see some Colossus here. He was doing very well against Beyond Colossus.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. If you guys didn't see the Alima League monthly finals, Beyond took a loss to Super in a best of 3, and it was in large part thanks to Colossus being so good versus Bio.
Yeah. It's very odd that it's like when we see Colossus, they seem to just do so well, like stupidly well. Like, why don't they always go Colossus like they used to do? But, you know, the truth is people usually don't go for Colossus. So I wonder what the trick is between choosing to go for them and not choosing to go for them. Like, where exactly does the
where does it distinguish itself?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, at one point I thought it was because people were going for early Liberators, because that's the first time we saw Colossus come back, is to kind of deal with Liberators. But even that isn't like 100% accurate, because we still see people go Colossus against people who are drop heavy or, you know, just pushing at the front with mass bio. So I don't know. But Super likes his Colossus play, and he looks very good with it, so I believe in him. And it is also pretty quick Liberators. There's a reason that Colossus seem to be the most common on Dusk Towers of any of the maps, and that's because usually Liberators are also coming out a lot quicker and a lot higher in number on Dusk Towers too.
Well, Blink Stalkers are going to complement things well if you got to dive through that front line and focus fire down those Liberators. You know, give your life to ruin them as quickly as possible. But the Colossus, at the same time, like, okay, its damage was nerfed, the speed, whatever, was increased recently. They're still not nearly as good as just getting that one-hit wonder that obviously a Disruptor is, but it's the consistency that makes them really appealing, and the consistency that makes them nice. Oh, was that the Warp Prism in the middle? Sorry, I was looking away for a second. It was. So, nice pick up on that Warp Prism. But the Colossus are something where he can really hit and run and not actually engage into the Liberators, which would be nice.
The trickiest thing about the Colossus and Legacy of the Void is that the fodder for it is no longer easy peasy stim and win with Marauders, you know? Like, Stalkers went down super quickly, so you always had to make sure, you know, that you found them in a choke, you didn't have a concave, and whatnot. Because Mass Marauder was beating out Colossus play in Heart of the Swarm after a point. But in Legacy of the Void, those Adepts make it a little bit trickier. You know, Marauders don't deal that much damage that quickly, even though they are tankier, so the Adepts aren't going down very quickly. They can try and sim on top of the Colossus, but even that is proven very difficult to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, watching Beyond try and do that yesterday, or 2 days, excuse me, was just depressing, because you'd run into the Colossus, you'd focus him down, but also you'd be dead before you get those last hits, and the Colossus just sit there with 15 kills.
I wonder if more than a counter to Colossus, you know, being Vikings or Liberators on Siege, which isn't that much of a counter, is maybe going for Ghost, just get rid of the Adepts in front faster.
Yeah, actually, that's a funny point because there was a big problem where, forget the Colossus for a moment, Adepts were something Terran had to deal with, and Ghosts turned out to be such the perfect reply to it. The bonus damage they dealt through auto attacks, the EMP on the shields. Nice wall off over here, by the way, denies that transfer. So he's going to lose SCVs to the main, and that totally sucks, but he does so, it minimizes damage.
Yeah, and he's up in supply right now. Now he should use that supply before Super gets to Fleet Beacon and Tempest Tech, because he already has 2 Stargates, but aLive's being a little bit scared. But on that Ghost topic, I don't think we'll see that anytime soon as an experiment. Maybe from a foreigner or two, like BCQD, basically. He's our go-to guy.
Like the go-to,
yeah. But it is like almost a response to Colossus in the same way that Colossus is a response to the Liberators. They don't counter each other, but they counter enough of everything else that they really help out, ultimately, against Liberators or against Colossus. You see here, Colossus can't help when the Liberation range are down, but they catch the army, Mass Marine. Maybe they can melt it and the Stalkers take care of the Liberators.
The Liberators are really trying to get sieged up, but this leapfrog and the kiting from both.
Yeah, there you go.
This is really nicely handled from Super, but also by aLive. Now, aLive's got a bigger army supply on this, and his upgrades aren't looking too shabby, but it is 3 on the way for Super, and he's already moving on towards Tempests. It doesn't necessarily get easier for aLive from here, but so far this current army can take on the current army of Super.
I really liked Super's play. I feel like that's the highlight of why Colossus are very useful. You don't have Colossus, and they're just sieging forward, losing nothing, you know, but bunny hopping Liberators, maybe like 1 or 2 Liberators at a time. But as aLive moved forward, the Colossus were getting such good pot shots at the very high Marine count aLive had. aLive's still in a supply lead. His upgrades aren't terrible, but they are about to be behind once more. But it is those Tempests. You know, that's the next step for Protoss, and unfortunately the next step for Terran is just a lot of Vikings, which aren't that good, and maybe Ghosts, if aLive can afford it. But he's only just now saturating his 4th base.
So that's where I really resonate with the point you brought up, where... Oh god, this is so bad for Bob. He's going to drop in the main, and that's not a bad choice, but Marines are the only way to really deal with the Tempest. You can't use Marines because of Adepts, so there's a lot of like this, that, and the other. The Colossus, I don't know how that can reach. It gets shots. Looks like this will get cleaned up. Big warp in on top of all of this. aLive does have a second round charging down the middle of the map, but his first attack failed so miserably. And the cost effectiveness of this engagement and this defense out of Super, just fantastic. This actually almost... Look at the resources lost. Oh, this is so
gross.
Look
at the supply.
The supply, sure, but look at the resources lost. It tells you how bad the attacks went. Like, oh my god, GG. GG. Super now leading 2-0 in the series and aLive on the cusp of falling out of the group. Out of the tournaments. Okay, well, folks, we're going to go to a commercial break of 2 minutes. When we come back, it may be yet another 3-0. I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll see you soon. All right, that load screen, though.
That load screen.
All right, got to turn the game sounds back on as we get into game number 3. If you're just joining us here in the cast, it's the losers bracket for the TING Open Season 2 round of 16. And he is on his last life, possibly out of the tournament with this game. In the bottom right side, we've got the red Terran player aLive.
In the top left, as the blue Protoss, he is Super.
People in chat trying to justify aLive's losses to lag, possibly, because we're playing in North America. Why on earth would we have a Korean versus Korean match play on North America? That's just... It always reminds... There's a saying I heard when I was young. It's always stuck with me for my life, and it's like, common sense isn't so common. It's kind of like, come on. Use your brain. Think about this for like 2 seconds. Of course, all the players...
Hey, maybe this guy hasn't watched StarCraft since Wings of Liberty, where you had to buy a separate account for all the servers, and he figures that the players are more likely to have separate accounts than the casters, and that are playing on NA.
You're right, because the Koreans just regularly need to practice on NA and have those accounts.
Well, they're more likely to play foreign tournaments? Question mark?
Again, you're totally just nailing it with a logic hammer right now.
We are to cast foreign events? Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I don't mean to tease too much, but it is, I just want to reaffirm, being played out on Korea with the Koreans and whatnot. For those who don't know BaseTradeTV too well, maybe you just kind of tune in once in a while. We do work to accommodate players on the regular, whether it's with schedule, whether it's with servers. Like even when we're on North America, we try and pick the difference between Central and West, depending on player preference, because there's really no point in creating lag when you don't need to.
Yeah, it's not like we're affected by lag.
No, I'm glad that's the case now too, because it wasn't always like that either. It used to be really terrible. Players and casters would be affected by each other's lag and latency. You're like, well,
I remember
Blizzard.
You had this bug. For some reason, I never got it, but you had this issue where you would go to Korea or EU.
Oh, yeah, latency would be like in the thousands for me.
Yeah, and it was there was like no reason for it, but it would happen, and you would complain to Blizzard like your servers suck. I hate you.
Yeah, we actually did complain like shit. That was one of the things we talked about when we were talking at Blizzard last year. Not the summit, but like, how can we help the casting experience? I'm like, I don't know, make it so I can. I was being really snarky about it, and I felt a little bit bad afterwards, but I had to deal with that for like the whole beta.
There's a lot of things, man. It's really sad for me that I guess I wasn't even in the heart of the Swarm beta, and I was playing pretty a lot, I guess, a lot back in that day. I just never got into the beta for one reason or another. Like as Void, you know, we get into the beta instantly and we have a lot of fun with it. We're like the first to discover, you know, blah, 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 and or the, you know, bringing up mistakes that they made. We're never going to have that experience again. And that makes me actually kind of sad, because I think that was the funnest time in StarCraft, was when we were basically on top of the world as community casters and everyone else was still back in the dark ages and Heart of the Swarm.
We're still kind of on top of the world as community casters.
I know, but like, we were... I mean,
we were making our way downtown.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, you know, you can prefer to watch the analytical, like, pro gamers that are casters, you got DreamHack and whatnot, and that's fine. Like, we know enough to provide some pretty decent insight, I would say. Not to toot my own horn or anything, right? But in Ladies of the Void beta, we knew so much more. It was almost embarrassing, okay? So, I would like that to be... I would like that to happen again. It was honestly the funnest time. And all the Archon games we played were so stupid and fun, too.
That one where we got Masters was the hardest grind of my life. No game was ever more satisfying to win than that. But
not even the time we got Grandmaster.
So aLive, by the way, pulls off this move. No, Grandmaster was actually, we didn't care about that either. Yeah, aLive pulls off this move that looks exactly what you Thermal did yesterday.
Right, yeah.
And
without so many bunkers, and Super pulls immediately, which I think is pretty important.
Well, it looks like it's going to work. The Cyclone finally comes in. It wasn't involved in the fight, and this is aLive fighting.
Yeah. I think the wall-off would probably be even better than what Uthermal did. Uthermal had all 3 bunkers finished, it was devastating.
Oh, the Mothership Core's got the Cyclone locked onto it. It's going to go down.
It's dead, yeah. It wasn't too helpful anymore either way, but what's really sucky is that Super... You know, that's one thing that the, I think it was Mana did. He did pull everything to the high ground so that he could try and hold on to one base. But unfortunately, his probes and stalkers on the low ground, I don't think it's going to be enough.
That Liver is just like, what's up? It does get focused down, but with all the stalkers now gone, there's nothing to protect the Immortal. aLive fighting!
There you go.
He's not going to go down! I love it!
There you go.
Man, I got that stupid Vanessa Carlton song stuck in my head. Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass, and I'm homebound.
You know what? There's karaoke near the summit. You can sing that at your heart's content.
We're gonna be in California. They got karaoke places all over the fucking place.
It depends on where our hotel is, right? Because I don't remember one near the hotel we were at last time.
That's true. Was it Toronto where we had that was the most fun? No, it was California because it was with the Carbots, right? We had Justine come because John.
Wait, no, it was San Francisco. Because we were at the theater thing, remember?
That wasn't San Francisco. That was downtown LA.
Whatever. You're right, but whatever. The point is, it wasn't in Anaheim.
By the way, we learned very quickly that the wife bot of the Carbot duo is a great singer, and that Carbot is a wiener who didn't want to come out to karaoke.
Wifebot's the best part of Carbot.
Yeah, wife. You guys
just saying it right now.
You guys see Carbot animations. Like, look at Time Grab's shirt, by the way. Like, okay, cool. Carbot's great. Love him. He helped us design stuff for like Hell Smooth Time. He's a real good guy. John's awesome. But Justine is the real powerhouse. If you guys ever get the honor of meeting those two, you're gonna enjoy Justine. I'll tell you that much right now. She's crazy, but in like the best way possible.
Just stare into your soul. Need that jelly bean.
All right.
I'm almost tempted to bring those, like, in case we can't find a candy shop it yet. Just bring it. See if Justine goes crazy mode again. Birdie bots, every with beans, Russian roulettes. That's the way to go, especially with alcohol.
Hmm.
I think you'd be more likely to throw up if you did that with alcohol. Might not be the best idea.
No, no, it wouldn't.
You don't know.
Hey
Maybe
there.
the alcohol washes it all away.
You're like super drunk. You're like, hey, Mike Morhaime, CEO of
So-
Blizzard.
I want to add that I think what really sucked about that experience, besides that I lost and I'm very disappointed in myself, was that before that we did that stupid video where we ate and drank the weird shit, and the weird shit was also really gross. You know, we had like one thing in that pack of goodies that I think was really good. So that night was just full of bad tasting shit, like Martian poop.
Literal shit. All right.
Yeah.
Classy.
I know you're gonna expand on that. It was Martian poop, guys.
Classy as always, Zombie Grub.
I know. Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Well, not a sweep, as chat says, and that is correct. He's still got a nice lead in the series, however. In the bottom left side, we got the red Protoss player, Super.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he's aLive.
And precisely living up to his name, as does take that one game. Now, he might even be able to bring this one back on Frost, depending on what moves he wants to make. I do want to point out that when we saw Frost last time, it was a little bit odd, it was a little bit awkward, and there's still all kinds of question marks out of aLive and his play stylings. But this is something where I feel that move on Frozen Temple may have just been a gimmick. It may have just been a once-off thing. I don't actually know that he can beat Super, turn it around 3-2, but I like that he did go for that cheese. I like that he went for the all-in, and would hope he maybe tries to continue that thought process for the rest of the series.
Yeah, it might be, you know, the same way that it might just be a gimmick and he might still lose 3-1, blah, blah, blah. It also might be that momentum restart, you know? Like, that can be a very important thing in best ofs or any situation, really, that's competitive. You know, you actually get that good goal or you actually win one of the games or whatever, and you suddenly start to feel better about yourself, you know? Because if you look at go down, technically aLive's been down 5-0 now. Because you got 3-0'd in the first place and then 2-0'd, you're not feeling so hot. To get even a win, even if it's not the most clean, quote-unquote, win, is still something that might restart your energy levels and might give you a little bit of hope, which can be a big thing.
Just to know that you're still in it.
Yeah.
Now, gas steel went down, and that's really annoying. It's not the end of the world or anything like that, but it's certainly annoying. As had aLive wanted to do anything a little bit more dedicated, he wouldn't have the option to. I do want to note that 3 barracks are coming down, but while normally we talk about this being super get across the map aggressive, this is kind of what you need to do when you take an early command center, and a lot of this has to do with just getting production to deal with anything that comes early. Whether it's an Oracle and needing 6 Marines, or whether it's the depths at the front door knocking, he's going to need units.
Yeah.
And just again, the gas steel really screws him for this because you can't start sim in a factory. Your starport's going to be later for it. All kinds of problems come from the fact that this gas was taken. So this was a nice move out of Super.
Yeah, it is frustrating, and it did kind of force aLive to do this build in particular, but it's not a bad build. In fact, I would say that this is a good change-up regardless. The 1-1-1s have been working for aLive. The Cyclone opener and that Dusk Towers game didn't really work out. Having more units earlier, and more powerful units too, than just, you know, Marines with nothing, could be really good for aLive. In fact, I think it'll be really, really good, because Super is kind of playing a bad build here against what aLive is doing. Blink Stalker all in. He's got 5 gateways, so not like really an all-in, but dedicated nonetheless. That's going to be difficult to actually make work against mass amounts of bio units. Now, the medevacs won't be there for a while, and then that's where you can kind of get a bit of damage done just by making them stim a lot. But they're going to have more units than any other build to spread around and not get caught off guard by those Blink Stalkers.
Well,
So I'm pretty hopeful here for aLive.
The thing I kind of roll my eyes about, though, is depending on how aLive attacks, Overcharge can deal with that gap pretty well.
Yeah. Well, that's if aLive is even the first one to attack. Or try and drop. I mean, he could try and drop while defending, but that'll be dangerous.
Already having seen so much bio, actually, did Super ever see the second and third racks? No, he didn't. But
I don't think so, yeah,
Even
that's-
already seeing so much bio, you already know there's production down.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like, that many Marines, It's possible, I suppose, they went for like a 2-rack still. I'm not sure if there's enough to see there to know that it was like a 3-racks opener, but it is a 3-racks opener. It's going to be Marauders, it's going to be Stim, and if Super dedicates to this attack, again, only 5 gateways, but still a dedication. He could just be wrecked, honestly, if he really does this poorly. But his observer's here, so he really shouldn't be doing that poorly. You should see the amount of bio readily available and probably start to think of alternatives to just forcing the issue, Because again, he could macro behind this, but he is looking for some type of damage. Whether that's, picking off Marines, medevacs, or ideally a couple of SCVs.
So unfortunately, when you blink in forward like that, you do lose your escape mechanism, and that's what's really unfortunate. You can pick up a couple of these stalkers, and he does precisely that. I like this. Keep them alive a bit longer. So you got that one blink, you got a little bit behind it, but no reinforcements and no Warp Prism transforming. This is getting down to precision micro, and Super's actually taking the lead off of this.
I feel like we've all been in that position as aLive where we see just blink stalkers and we're like, bio, Stim, and medevacs, we're awesome. That was too overeager.
That was literally half his army supply with that medevac going down with the units inside of it.
Even if he didn't lose that medevac, he was already in a bad position. He really should not have chased.
Agreed.
This might just be game over because of that simple mistake.
Yeah.
But that's disappointing, especially for aLive, who I think really had a good start to this, to defend against this.
The Blink Stalker controller is fantastic. He pulls the Warp Prism back. There's even that high ground vision, so all the SCVs are dead at this point. Just blinks back into the main. GG gets called, and looks like aLive will be eliminated from the group, and Super will move on to the finals.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm really happy about this for Super's sake, because we've been talking a big game about him lately. He's been playing well in a lot of the events we've been casting him in, whether it's the Alima League or whether it's TING. I'm really glad to see Super continuing his path of dominance, but that will wrap up the series and send us to another sponsored break, guys, where we get vetoes and things beginning with Rogue and Patience. They've been waiting for a little bit of time, so they might just be AFK. I don't actually know. We'll find out soon, and hopefully they won't be gone for too long if they are. But, yikes. Really fast group going by here. It's been 2 hours. We're already in the finals. That is exceptional considering the last 2 groups we've done have been like 5 hours and longer.
Yeah.
But alright guys, again, word from Ting. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.